Hello friends and welcome to Zentangle class number 81. We have live class going on next Thursday from 6:30 to 7:30 if you wish to join us. Today is all about swirls and scrolls. I'm going to draw my fancy line there. Alright, so the first one we're going to do is called title. It's going to make a tidal wave shape. So we're going to start out with a line. We're going to arch up slightly and then put a little bit of a hook on the end. So you want to close that hook. You're going to come up slightly from that, arch up over the top, and hook again. And these bottom ones, if you want it to go straight, need to come down at the same point. I'll show you in a bit that you can make it actually move like in a wave. So I want to swirl down this way. I'm going to keep repeating the same shape, but I'm going to drop my arch down further. And likewise, I got a little small there, sorry. Likewise, if you want to go up, you're just going to scroll up. So we're going to start that in a second. So you just kind of control where you put this arched line, and then you add your hook on the end, and you get all the way to the edge, and you're going to have one line that kind of dies off there, and it makes my swirl. So now I want the next eye to be right in the middle of those. So I'm going to start out with a short little line, and then repeat everything with the hook or the little eyelet in between the divot of the previous row. So I'm just going to keep watching where I'm going, following my shape all the way down, and then I'm going to start arching back up. And these here, when you arch back up, sometimes they get a little short because you have to kind of make that turn. So just be careful that you're not getting in the habit of drawing the same length and then you sort of miss your mark. Now you can do it where you don't have a little one. If you want to just kind of have like an end, you start and draw your arch from the line below. So instead of leaving a gap like we did with the second row, between the first and second row, you actually will close it. So you see how that first line there, I closed it, and now I'm repeating the exact same process all the way across. And I can do that again. I'm just going to kind of draw it from the same point, arch up and put my little line in there. You can move it back a little bit further, like kind of skip that first eyelet, move it back a little bit further and start. But if you don't want that gap, you want to look like it's a closed thing, then you have to close those very first set of arches on the left. Otherwise it'll just be a pattern, and you can certainly do that. You can use this as a fill pattern in a section. You don't have to use it kind of as this border that we're drawing here, so it's up to you how you want to use it. Alright, so now if you're going to use this as a border, you want to finish it off somehow. I like to just kind of do a little scallop that sort of follows these bottom eyelets here. You can do whatever you'd like. If you want to just leave it and have your piece die into it, that's fine. For the shadowing effect, you can do this thicker line. It's on the left, like right where the eyelet, you can kind of see it better on the picture on the left. It's like the left side of the eyelet. You could also do it on the right edge if you want it to sort of be on the background. It's up to you. The back end, of each eyelet, you could do it on the right side of each eyelet as well. Alright, something just like that. Okay, so we're going to go on to the second one, and I'm going to actually draw my box for my third pattern inside. So I'm just going to draw a square in the middle of my paper. So this is actually the box, what's going in the boxes for our third pattern. But I need the box in order to do the second pattern. So this one's going to be kind of a scroll feature, and it's a little strange to get used to. I'm going to start on the left corner, and I'm going to do an upside down scroll. So with the little, oops, I just messed it up. The scrolls go down. So both of the scrolls start down. So I'm going to scroll up and then come back down. So it creates kind of that like upside down U shape. And you can just draw an arch like a upside down U, and then you can go back and put the scrolls on if that's easier for you. You want to kind of keep the spacing similar. The second row is going to go right in between, so if you can kind of put a line there just as your guide. You don't have to, but you're going to leave a little mark, and you're going to do right side up scrolls. So it's going to look like a smile with two hooked corners on the mouth, and that's going to go right in between the other ones. I'm going to leave the ends alone, and in between, to connect them, I'm going to draw an arched line from the outside of the scroll, arch down to the one below. So you're going to keep kind of zigzagging these lines up and down, and we'll work on the end ones when we get that far. And now inside each of the scrolls, you can kind of see it a little detail a little bit better on the left. You want to draw those lines to close off those scrolls, or to make them look like they're 3D. But they should arch in the way that the line arches. So I'm going to go down to the right here, down to the left here, up to the right here, and then up to the left here. So you want to keep changing which direction you draw these little lines. Again, you can see the detail a little bit better on the left. Alright, now you can go ahead and keep drawing these in a straight line. You don't have to use these how we're going to use them for here. But I want to show you that you can actually turn the corner here. So this end one, it can be a little confusing to figure out. I think I need an actual extra scroll, because you want to go past the edge of the square. See how I'm past here? I want to go past that. So I'm going to add one more scroll on the top. And now I can turn the corner, because there'll be one right below that. So I'm going to turn it to the right. So for this next row, I'm going to draw the bottom row, and I want my first scroll to be in line with the bottom row of the, like what is now going down the page, if that makes sense. So you can kind of see my very first scroll on the left side of this row is sort of right over the top of the bottom row that's now going down, or bottom column that's now going down. So I'm just going to go and do my top scrolls like we did before. So the process once you turn the corner is exactly the same. You want your bottom scrolls to have space, and then your top scrolls to be in between those areas. I get a little lazy when I do my scrolls, so mine are kind of messy, but... Alright, so now I'm going to close off this corner. I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do an arched line from the edge down to the first scroll. So you can see that it kind of went quickly, but you're just going to kind of close off that scroll there. And now I'm going to do the exact same process that I did when we did the top row, by closing these off and then drawing the little paper roll pieces inside each scroll. Alright, so now we're going to change this next corner, and it's a little bit different than the other one, because now my bottom scroll is at the top here, is the first one. So I'm going to do the same type of thing though, and I'm going to start my scroll over the top of the last row here. So I'm going to just see how it's lined up? I'm going to do a scroll. Now this is the top row, so you have to kind of pay attention as to what makes sense when you turn these corners. The last one, on the last corner, the bottom row was first. Where they connected in the corner on the bottom row. This one is going to connect on the top row. And it won't always work out that way. It depends on how accurate you are with the length of your scrolls, if you've evenly spaced them, how big your square is in a certain way. Maybe you have a rectangle. It might be different on each corner, so you have to kind of stop and think about it for a while. And I'm going to now close this off. Same thing. I'm going to draw an arched line from the top to the previous side, and then keep going through. Now you can see that we've got a complete border around this box. You can do different types of things with it. These kind of corners look a little funny, so on the original design I saw, the artist or illustrator had these extra little lines that came off, and that's what created boxes for other patterns. So there were different things that went around, but you can use it however you want. So you could put little patterns up here and do different types of things with that. So now we're going to go on to the third one. I need you to find a pencil. And you're going to put this into a 16 square grid. So we're going to do split it in half. And then in between each of these halves, you're going to split it in half again. So you should end up with 4 columns. And then you're going to turn the paper and do the same thing, doing 4 rows. Now, of course, you can have more. You can have more rows than columns. You can have more rectangular. You just want to have evenly spaced columns. So if you have only room to get 3, that's totally fine. You just want to make sure you have evenly spaced rows. I'm going to switch over to my pen. And inside each of the boxes, I'm going to start at the bottom left corner and scroll up to the right. So I'm going to come down. It's not to the middle of the corner there. It's just short of that corner, and I'm going to scroll up. So I'm going to come just slightly down from this corner so I have room to scroll up. Make sure that you have enough room to put that scroll on the top. So you want to make sure that you don't go straight to the corner. You want to come down just a smidge from the corner and then scroll up. And of course these scrolls stay inside the box. So you want to try and keep them inside the box. Once you have practiced this and you want to change it up, feel free. You can make bigger scrolls. You can have some that go jump 2 boxes. It's entirely up to you. You can definitely change it up, but practice the way that it's on here first so that you kind of get the feel for it. Great. Now we're going to start drawing the vertical lines. So I'm going to come in. I'm not going to draw on my pencil line. I'm going to come in just a smidge from that. And I'm going to draw a line straight down. And I'm going to jump over the scroll and stop when I get to the next line. So same on here. I'm not going to draw on the pencil line. You come in a smidge and go straight down. And do that for all the different columns. So on this last row on the right, you do have to come in a little bit and still draw that same line, even though that's the edge of our box there, kind of creates a different look. You might have a half of a row there, it's up to you, but you want to make sure you finish off that piece. So now I'm going to draw on the left side. I'm going to kind of come down and I'm going to stop and I'm going to jump and come down a smidge from the pencil. So whatever spacing I have there, I want to come down right to that little dot. So again, this is not on the pencil line, it's inside just a smidge. So I'm going to draw these little lines here. They don't touch any other lines, they're just kind of floating. The top piece you won't see, but this next piece you want to draw this angled line, and again you want to stop just short of that vertical line it comes near. So this is kind of like your little divot, your little border piece. So we're going to come straight down, stop, jump over, come down, stop, jump over, come down, stop, jump over, come down, and then you're going to draw, not on the top one, but you're going to draw on these, the ones that you can see the full arch, diagonal, excuse me. You're going to draw. Don't forget that little one at the bottom. Now again, these are not on the pencil line. Remember, you need to come in and down from the pencil line. You're not going to draw on the pencil line. Okay, so now inside this little like open V here, there's a couple of different ways you can shade it. Of course, you can use pencil. You can do your very hard lines right along the edge of this line, and then in this corner you kind of do an arched shadow. So you do an arched line. You can kind of see it a little bit on the left. It's going to give you probably the most realistic looking shadow line if you'd like. Otherwise, you can start really far along the one edge, lighten your pencil as you come in towards the center, and then turn and do the same thing this way, coming down towards the center. So that's kind of the easier, I don't know, easier, less time-consuming way of shading if you want to do that. It was not going to give you a very great shade, but I'm going to be lazy and I'm going to just highlight all of my wide V shapes here with my chubbier marker. And then I'm going to add in some pen shadow lines, or what they call hatch marks, instead of using a pencil. So either way, it's entirely up to you. And again, you can have a lot of fun with this. You can completely change this design now that you know how to draw it. You can completely change it up. You can add different things. You can add color if you want. The original one that I saw, I believe it was on like a black paper or something, and it was all white and it had some yellow sections and stuff. It looked really neat. So you could certainly try adding some pencil or have a different color background. It's entirely up to you. So I'm going to leave my two pencil ones alone just so you can kind of see that. And now I'm going to go back to my skinny pen and I'm going to draw these little hatch marks. So you just kind of quickly shoop, 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 shoop your pen. You're just going to put it down and sort of brush it across the paper. So you brush, brush, and as you get across, you sort of lift your pen off. So it's kind of like you're flicking something, you know, whoop, 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 whoop. You just keep very quickly doing these lines, and they're going to get shorter as you get towards the bottom of the line, because realistically the shadow line at the bottom of the point would be less, so the longer lines, which would create more of a noticeable black line, should be towards the point of this V. So that's just a little technical talk, but as you get down to the bottom of this line here, you want to have them become a little bit shorter. Now that I have this drawn, I think I need a little bit more of a dark section. I'm going to color in my centers of my scrolls here, just to add a little pop there. So that's one thing to do after you do your patterns. If you kind of notice that it looks all one tone, and it's not really the look you're going for, you can always add some darker sections or do something else to it to see how it changes the look. It's pretty neat. All right, I hope that you enjoyed our scrolls and swirls for today. We do have live class again November 11th from 6:30 to 7:30. You can register online if you'd like. We'd obviously love to have you. Otherwise, there will be virtual videos again the rest of this month on Thursday. I hope that you have a great day. I hope you're doing well, and I hope to see you in the library again very soon. Have a great day.